Today we're going to be working on the R34 because there's a few things I hated about this design when I originally started going GTT on this GTV. This is my personal vehicle, and I really wanted to go with a bigger turbo setup than what I started off with. I have the GTV, and we're going to be doing the GTT kit on this car, but I really didn't like the intake manifold. I didn't like the exhaust manifold. I didn't like the stock turbo. So we're going to be changing all of the things that I originally purchased for this car to make it a GTT. This right here is the stock exhaust manifold for a GTT. I really hate how restricted this design is. This was just a max speeding rods turbo I was going to put on this car originally, which is going to be changing now into a bullseye 63 mil. And this being a Neo, this is going to be the intake manifold for the non-turbo variant, which we're going to be changing as well with a zero fab. But since we're going zero fab on the intake manifold, it comes with a new throttle body, an 80 millimeter. Also comes with a new fuel rail, so we're going to be going with R35 injectors now. The ones we're going with are 1,000 cc's. For the time being, what I'm going to start working on right this second, since I have it in the car right now, is the new exhaust manifold, which is right here. We have an external wastegate to go with the new bullseye turbo, the 63 mil I was talking about earlier. And those are the injectors we're going to be throwing on the car once the new intake manifold shows up. There's a lot of parts in here. There is a stock GTT ECU, but we're going with a Haltech. Then this is a lot of the factory stuff that we're not going to be putting on the car anymore. At first, this car was just going to be a GTT. I was going to convert everything over to a GTT setup and just run it that way with the stock ECU. And now we're going to go with the Haltech Nexus S3. We're going to do the Haltech screen and just do it right. If we're going to do it right. Spend the money once and not spend it twice, because I've already spent enough money buying stuff that I'm not going to use at all. But let's get into it. I'm going to start taking off this exhaust manifold real quick. Right now, we're working on getting the exhaust manifold off the car. Already got the turbo off, so that's already done. So we're just kind of finishing up getting this one off so we can put the new one on. And then I'm probably going to bolt this one back to the car for the time being. That way I can just have it as a dust shield, essentially, just for the time being. And then pop the new one on when it shows up. This should be the last bolt, and then this should just come off from here in a perfect world. We'll see. This one hasn't been on the car very long, so it should just slide out. Like so. Ugh, come on, get up. Perfect. All better. Much better. All right, let's go put this thing on. All right, and the new exhaust manifold is on, turbos back together and on. This is a temporary setup right now. This is just so I can make sure that nothing gets inside of there. It's just kind of just bolted there as a dust shield for the time being. I'm not gonna lie to you. Outside of that, everything else is bolted together right now. Just kind of get an idea of the fitment part of it. I don't know how this is all gonna play out once the bigger turbo is in, because that turbo is extremely small in comparison to the new one. So I'm kind of curious on how this whole thing's gonna play out once it's all together permanently. But these are problems for later. This is just kind of get an idea of how things are gonna look when it's all said and done. Next time we get back into the R34, we'll be taking care of the intake manifold side. I'm waiting for zero fabs intake and the fuel rail along with the new throttle body to get here. So once those all show up, we'll be taking care of all that as well. And then finally, before we get into the tuning portion and the Haltech, we have a lot of fab work to do. We have a lot of intercooler piping to run. On the back side of the turbo, you're gonna notice there is no piping anymore. All that stuff got removed. So there's a Tomei on the back side of the car. Let me show you really quick. So right now we have a Tomei, and then there's a decap pipe by Tomei as well. But after that Tomei, there's nothing there anymore. So we're gonna be running all custom piping. It's gonna go to the new turbo to a V-band at the very end over on this side. Kind of curious, kind of excited how everything's gonna play out and look when this whole car is done. This is just getting warmed up and getting things started. I have a lot of buttoning up to do, a lot of relocation to take care of. This stuff looks kind of crappy for the time being. It's all temporary when I got the car just to get it running and moving under its own power. So there is still a lot of work ahead of this car. It's just getting things dialed in, moving forward, getting all the parts taken care of, and then moving things around, because realistically, if I was to do all of this right now, I'd be doing it all over again once the new parts are here. If I've learned anything about building cars and working on stuff, it's better just to get things pieced together, get an idea, get a game plan going of what you're going to put where, and then try to figure out what parts you're going to be using during that process, instead of just trying to rush it and make it all look pretty the whole time, because it makes it impossible later on.